Television, Houston, Texas. Your daily program is. My guest today is
Bukola Idowu.
Bukola Idowu. Sir, who is Bukola Idowu?
Well, Bukola Idowu is just the executive director of Kimpat Development Initiative in Nigeria, but the headquarters is in Osun State. Basically, what we do is policy advocacy, good governance, and youth development. But recently, we just push in economic development, and what we focus more is the young people, the youth in particular. So I am privileged to be the executive director, coordinate the activity of Kimpat Development Initiative. So, of course, that is Bukola Idowu.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You can hear from Mr. Bukola Idowu. Now, Mr. Bukola Idowu, concerning the youth agenda, because people in society do not hear anything from you again concerning the youth agenda. What is really going on?
Okay, thank you very much for that question around Osun Youth Agenda. Osun Youth Agenda, as we know, initially when we started a few months ago, the noise was all over and everything, and then of course it might look like people are not hearing anything, but the truth is that they may not hear anything, but activities are still going on a daily basis. And I need to tell you few things that we have been doing, because Osun Youth Agenda is all about developing the young people, and it has like about 5 major thematic areas, which is the health, poverty, education, wealth creation, and agriculture. So we are looking at how will the government be accountable. At the same time, we are looking at how will government devote a lot of budget allocation into this area, so that young people deliberately can be improved in terms of these thematic areas. So what we've been doing lately is we have been doing a lot of advocacy visits and advocacy meetings. So that is what we've been doing. So, and I give you out of 26 member in the State House of Assembly, we've been able to meet 23 of them. Now one on one, and then we have now 23 member House of Assembly in Osun State who have thrown their weight behind Osun Youth Agenda. Because in no time, one of the things we are also pushing for is where we can have a standalone ministry or commission that will be responsible for young people. Because if you look at what is going on in Osun presently, the population of Osun, according to National Population Commission, talks about we have 5.1 million. And then breaking that down a bit, young people in that particular demographic, in that particular population, young people between the age of 18 to 40 now contribute to 49%, which is approximately 50%, which means 5.1 million, just half of it is the young people in this state. So, and that particular demographic needs what we call, need urgent attention, need to be, the development of that sector, of that particular demographic need to be intentional. So what we are looking at is that Osun State is ripe for Osun Youth Development Commission, a ministry that will focus on young people and that will take every thematic area into consideration and make sure that they are following most of this. Because if you look at what we have presently, Ministry of Agriculture, now how can you measure what we call the youth component in that budget? It's difficult to measure. How can you measure the youth component in the Ministry of Health? How can you measure the youth component in the Ministry of Commerce? It's difficult. But when you have a ministry that focuses on youth, and then you know that, look, everything around young people is what they are doing, because they are actually the largest. Because if they are 50%, approximately 50%, the remaining 50% comprise the young, the children, and also comprise the adults. So, but if you look at the young people, they have that particular number. So what we are advocating for is that, okay, let me also take you back to history, because if you look at from 1999 to date, youth ministry have been the one that has been battered most. What do I mean by that is that because every government that comes in place find a means of merging the ministry with one ministry or the other at times. In fact, we have even seen a situation where past administration just scrapped that and merged it with the Ministry of Agric. So Ministry of Youth and Ministry of Agric were together. So, but this is not what it should be, because the future of any state, the future of any country is the investment they make in the young people. So what we are now advocating for is the Youth Development Commission, that we Osun State Youth Development Commission, that will be able to cater for youth issues. And that is, but of course, that cannot happen without the House passing the law, and that cannot happen without the executive, which is the governor, signing that bill into a law. So what we have not been doing is that we have beamed our light and we have been focusing and advocating to the legislature, and that is why I said, look, we have been doing that one-on-one. So if you have been meeting the legislature one-on-one, and you can imagine the number of months it's going to take us. That is why people are not hearing the noise outside. So, but what we have been able to do, and we thank God that we've been able, out of 26, we've been able to get the support of 23. Now, that aside, now on Wednesday, this coming Wednesday on the 28th, one of the things that is going to happen in this state is that we are convening a high stakeholder policy dialogue, where we are the governor is going to be there, the deputy governor is going to be there, the permanent secretary of ministries are going to be there, development people are going to be there, members of the press are going to be there. It's high stakeholder dialogue meeting. So we and this, what are we going to do there? And we also have other international organizations like international donor. We are expecting the USAID, DFID, NDI, that is National Democratic Institute. They are also coming here. So what we are going to do in that particular meeting is to begin to look at existing policy around youth issue, and how we can develop it. Now, develop it and make it 21st century compliance. So those are the things we'll be looking at. And then we're also going to have like panel discussion. We are going to engage the governor. The governor is going to tell us what the administration has been doing and how they are coming into the youth agenda to make the young people to be better. And then the next thing we will do immediately after that, which means it's going to be 2 weeks from now, is what we call the State Day of Action. This is where we are expecting like over 5,000 young people to go on the streets to do rally, and then the rally is just to ask for the executive and the legislature to implement, to put their weight in behind Osun Youth agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Idowu. So, my concern concerning the Osun Youth agenda is, if government refuses to empower youth, what will happen?
Well, we are yet to think about that, because in all honesty, there is no our engagement so far, and it will interest you that we have also been able to meet with the deputy governor of the state. That is the highest we have been able to go, and then on Wednesday we will be meeting with the governor during the policy dialogue. But why we have not been thinking about about the other option is because the support we have been getting from the government have been massive. And I must tell you the truth, because what we did was to do a serious research work, with us to go deep and bring data and bring impact assessment, do impact assessment to see that, look, what we are doing, and we have been able to table it before the people and say, look, this is exactly going to be the benefit. Now, and for instance, one of the impact assessment, if you look at Osun State has, apart from Ogun State now, have one of the highest higher institutions in Nigeria. So if you look at Osun State, which means Osun State can be a hub for educational development in terms of ICT, in terms of whatever you engineering. So we can be making money from Osun State. Osun State can be making money, and people begin to fly all over if you can look into that. So what we have been able to do is that we have been able to let the government see the benefit of what we are talking about. That is not political, that is not partisan. So we have been able to see that this is just a citizen movement that is driving this. So and I must tell you, the deputy governor was in support. Everybody, the House Assembly member are in support. The ministry, permanent secretary are in support. So and of course we also believe that it is not something they can implement at once because it's huge, but phase by phase. Some of them have been, we've gotten confirmation that some of this recommendation is going to find their way into the budget coming next year. So we will begin to follow up, and we are not expecting that they do everything at once. For instance, now if they do one in this budget, next year they do one. Osun State is getting better. We may not be better. We are not asking for 100% development in every area, but we are only asking if there can be 2% development in every area that border use. There is progress.
Thank you. Your daily program is from ABN TV hosting. Sir, Mr. Idowu, my final question is, now you have been convincing this government to listen to youth, to empower them.
Yeah.
Now, as a journalist, are you assured us to tell the society in the state that also state government is ready to empower youth?
Yes, I can say that we 100% assurance that this government is ready to empower the youth. And I give you an example. If it is not a government that is not ready, if it is a government that is not ready to empower the youth, number one thing the government will have done is to scrap OES. Because it is not the making of this present administration. Now 20,000 people will have been sent packing. But you've noticed that the government now continue that particular scheme, because the scheme was put in place by Ogbeni Rauf Aregbesola. Oyetola came and continued the scheme. That shows that, look, they have interest of the young people at heart. So what it means is that, look, they have the interest. But what we are now doing on the part of Osun Youth Agenda is to see how can the government scale this up. For instance, now the OES we are talking about, over 2.5 million people in this state are youth. OES is only looking into 20,000 in 2 years. So what we are now, 20,000 compared to 2.5 million, you can imagine the difference. So what we are now saying is that we need to work together and see how we can scale this thing up, because the future of any country, I said somewhere, and I said, look, in the next 10, 15 years, or in the next 25 years, the people in secondary school now will occupy this State House of Assembly. The people in secondary school now will be permanent secretary, they will be commissioner, they will be governor. So what is the legacy? Because if you don't develop them now, you will find out that, look, this state is going to be in a mess in the next 20 years. And that is why we are encouraging the government to push all their effort into developing Osun Youth Agenda. And for me, I am sure they are going to, they're going to develop the youth in this and implement youth agenda. But I still want to appeal that most of the commitment they have given should not remain a political statement. You understand? They should not remain a political statement, because most times when you go to a politician and say this, they say, oh, we will do it, and nothing will be done. But the truth is, if they want peace, when I mean want peace, because when you develop people, you are giving them education, and then education bring peace, because people will not be informed. You understand? People that are not informed become suicide bombers. People that are not informed become kidnappers. People that are not informed doesn't even see how they can survive. You understand? So they think by stealing is how they can survive. They don't know the nitty-gritty of raising capital to start a business. They don't know the nitty-gritty of becoming an entrepreneur. They don't know how to get jobs. So because education is lacking. So what it means is that for Osun prosperity and peace, it is good that Osun Youth Agenda be implemented. And when this is implemented, I tell you, in the next 20 years, the government has laid the foundation for a prosperous state.
Thank you, Mr. Bukola Idowu. Your welcome this morning. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
I really appreciate you because you are calling and you answer us. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Now, can we give the youth in our society advice?
Yes, I think I need to look straight to the youth. Listening to me and are watching us now. Is that number one is that we have a lot of things going against us. And when I say we have a lot of things going against us, is because people believe that we are the one that are doing cybercrime, we are the one that are political thugs, we are the young people are the one who are actually messing up and they're fighting, burning houses and doing cybercrime, kidnapping, and a whole lot of things. But that is just one narrative people are saying. But the other narrative are there are other young people who are doing excellently well. So the negative should not define us. So what we are saying now is that the young people, we need to get out there and show what we are made of, because in terms of ICT, in terms of education, in terms of entrepreneurship, in terms of IT, in terms of sports, in terms of entertainment, we have been pushing and bringing the image of this country. We have been shooting it out positively. So what I am advising is that we need to stay more on the positive divide of the scheme of things, and make sure that we are actually doing what it should be done. Never should they begin to tag us with negativity. So for me, I'm advising you to get out there, because we have the number. Let's exercise our number. Let's demand for development. Let's demand for things that will improve the democracy and development, and in no time every one of us will enjoy the dividend.
Thank you, Mr. Bukola Idowu. Yes, my colleagues at home, we have been listening to Mr. Bukola Idowu since morning concerning the Osun State Youth Agenda and the plan that government have to for youth in Osun State, not only Osun State, Nigeria generally. Youth, patient. Something's come to better in our country. So my name is Tosin Adedoku. Say goodbye for now.
Thank you very much.
For the people that love me, for the people that got me, I see the way you support me. I'm thankful.